Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Everybody Needs a Nudge. We took a little vacation last week. Went out to Saquesh in Plymouth. But this is the episode that everybody has been waiting for. I think this episode, this week's guest has been mentioned 5 or 6 times on prior podcasts. So today with me is my business partner, my confidant, my work husband, Chris Fiumara. Say hello, Chris.
Hey, Danny, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. But before we get to Chris, we got to do sort of a quick little catch up on my life and what's going on, and then we'll do our corrections. And so I've actually been out. I was out the last couple of weeks, played in a golf tournament, member guest, which you've played in a bunch of member guests, right, Chris?
I have played a member guest.
You quit golf recently, though, right? You're done.
Yeah, golf is a history. It's in the history books.
It's in the rearview mirror.
Rearview mirror. Done. Bye.
Over.
Can't wait.
Just joined a new club, Wannamoysit. And
I'm not going to be playing there anymore.
So I played in a golf tournament, a buddy of mine, 4-day event. But the best part of the event was my brother was there, so I got to spend some time with my brother Robbie, which is nice. It's when you're sitting out on the deck and people comment about how it's nice to see you and your brother hanging out and you're still friends. So obviously, not everybody's got that kind of relationship with their brother. So that was nice, nice little perk.
How'd you do?
We lost. So we'll get. So one of the things I wanted to bring up, and I'll get your opinion on it, Chris, and Root Bear, I'll get your opinion on it. So the way the tournament works is you qualify. We qualified for the top flight, championship flight, and we lost our first match, 20 holes, 18-hole matches. I lost on the 20th hole, and we lost to the eventual winner of the tournament. Okay. So the question that my response to my guy was, well, at least we lost to the winners. Does that soften the blow for you?
No.
Doesn't matter.
A loss is a loss.
Loss is a loss, right?
Shit.
I know. And as soon as the words came out of my mouth, I was like, what a loser I am for saying that.
Yeah, who cares?
You lost. Whether you lost to the guy that lost the next one or the guy who wins it all doesn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're the last loser.
Right. You're the best.
You're the last loser.
Yeah. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah,
no,
it does actually. Yeah, no, I should say you're the
first loser.
The first loser, but the reason why I can't say that, there were a whole bunch of other losers way before that.
Right.
So you weren't the first loser, really.
You're right.
So it's kind of like one of those last loser kind of deals.
Right.
If you're not first, you're last.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, that's how I kind of live my life. But
Dan, I gotta say though, that's not you, man. Like you're a winner.
I know, and I'm telling you,
you don't lose.
I'm telling you, as soon as the words came out of my mouth, I was like, "Why did I say that?"
I'm not talking about the words. I'm talking about losing the tournament.
No, so I'll give you
forget about the words.
I don't want to talk about golf because it's boring. But
golf is definitely boring.
It's boring, and I used to tell my wife all about every round, and she would make fun of me, birdie, bogey, bogey. But the kid, we played a young kid. He was a really good player, and he birdied 3 out of the last 4 holes, including both of the playoff holes to beat us. So that's what it took to beat us. The kid had a birdie 17. We tied 18 with pars, and then he birdied 1 and 2 in the playoff, and we lost to a birdie in the playoff.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's a good player. We went on to win.
He got his name on the board. He must be real excited about that.
Him and his a father-son team, so that's nice.
What a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story.
Right? It's a great story.
It's beautiful. It really
Root Bear loves it.
Root Bear.
Yeah, A&W. See, you'd know that if you listen to the podcast. So big revelation today. My 7-year business partner does not listen to the podcast.
I don't listen to any podcasts, okay? So don't feel bad about that. I don't feel any podcast out there I don't listen to. Not a podcast guy.
Well, one of my listeners and a past guest, Mark Gammons, noted that we had Mike Motto on the show last week. They were both Patriot League All-Stars in lacrosse the same year, 1994 or something like that. So he wanted to make sure I told him that. We'll get into corrections here. So, Chris, because you don't know, because you don't listen to the show, we like to go back and correct all the things that we said wrong.
Okay.
So there's a lot.
Yeah, a lot going on here.
Well, so 1999, I said that Green Day played at Woodstock. They did not play it in 99. They played in 94. Did you go to Woodstock?
No.
No?
No.
Where were you? Vegas?
What year?
1994.
I was in Miami.
Miami Beach?
I was in Miami Beach.
Yeah.
1994 at Barry University.
Oh, you were still, that's right. Yeah. And then 99, you must have you're probably in London at that point.
In 1999, I was in London, London, England.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to all the wonderful things that you've done in your life and why you did them.
I'm excited to talk about them.
Are you?
I am.
You look like you're really excited.
Really, really excited.
I'm excited.
I
know that A&W root beer over here is very excited.
Root beer's here.
So
Nudgy, he's my nudge. This guy's my nudge. Okay.
That's right. Everybody needs a nudge.
No, but you're my nudge.
I know. You're gonna make her cry. She gets very emotional.
Yeah.
Sentimental.
So I don't know if you'll remember this because you summited in Marshfield for a long, long time as a kid.
I did.
So do you remember as you drove into Marshfield, the A&W root beer place?
Yeah, 100%. Used to go there all the time.
So there's another one, or there was. It just closed in Hyannisport.
Was it A&W
root beer?
In Hyannis?
Yeah.
Hyannisport.
Or maybe Hyannis.
Huh.
Somewhere down the Cape. Maybe it was Chatham. I saw it in the newspaper. It just closed. That's recently.
Sad.
Yeah. End of an era.
I used to love going to that place in Marsh Vegas.
You did?
Oh, yeah. They come out when they have like a drive. They put the thing on the window.
Yeah.
A burger, fried clams, the root beer. It was all big. It was a big deal. It was a real big deal.
So that's why her nickname is Root Beer.
I don't understand.
At Amy Walsh. A&W.
You didn't hurt yourself coming up with that, did you?
Well, we were calling her Walshy, but everybody's Walshy. Everybody with the last name Walsh.
I can see that.
So we were
but what's your nickname? What was your nickname in high school or anything?
Walshy.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Real original.
Yeah.
Walshy.
What's up, Walshy?
Let's get a bud.
Let's
go to the
get
cake
him.
party. Walshy.
She wasn't drinking, and it's underage drinking.
No, she was drinking in high school.
No, nobody drinks in high school. We have a lot of high school viewers. Nobody drinks in high school, Chris.
Is that right?
Yes. Moving on.
Walshy, did you never drink in high school?
Moving on. So we also mentioned, and I got a phone call. I got a phone call from my buddy Dennis Pateris, who got mentioned because he's in the North Quincy Hockey Hall of Fame, and I coach with him now. And he has this saying, he has this saying every time that I say you're in the high school hockey Hall of Fame at Quincy North Quincy. He says, "Well, it's all relative." So it's all relative, meaning he's not that good. That he would say that to me, or I would say that to him. And so where it comes from, he told me the story where it comes from. So apparently, unbeknownst to me, I had played golf with Dennis 10 years ago, and he stinks at golf, like he's terrible at it.
Worse than me.
I'm gonna put him on par with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a 14.9.
You stink at golf.
I do not stink. I had an 83 last time I played. 83 stinks in your world.
Well, it's all relative to the point of the story. So we're playing golf, and I'm in his group, and I'm playing pretty good, and I'm hitting it on the green, or whatever. I'm doing my thing. Just playing golf, and he's hitting it over there. He's hitting it over to the left. I'm not helping him look for balls. Finally, he hits a good shot. Right? He hits it to he gets it on the green, essentially. Not really close to the pin, but he gets it on the green. And I yell across the fairway, "Hey, man, great shot. It's a great shot." And he comes over a little later. He's like, "Hey, you said great shot on the 14th hole. If you had hit that shot, would you have said great shot to yourself?" I said, "No, Dennis, but it's all relative." So that's where it comes.
He used that line all the time?
Because I
How
introduced.
old were you guys?
This is probably he said it was Paul McRae's 40th birthday party, and Paul McRae, who's been a guest on this podcast, is probably now 48. I think he's a couple years older than me, so it was like almost a decade ago. So I see Dennis at the hockey rink. He coaches with me, and I always introduce him to the girls. "Hey, this is Coach Pateris. He's a North Quincy High Hockey Hall of Famer." And his response to me is, "It's all relative."
It's all relative.
It's all relative. But I didn't know where the story came from. He was all excited to tell me the story.
That's awesome.
The far-reaching tentacles of the podcast. It's pretty good, right?
Once again, everybody needs a nudge.
Everybody needs a nudge.
Everybody needs a nudge over here.
I'm standing there with him, and he's looking at me. He's like, "You don't remember that?" I'm like, "You think I remember everything I've ever said to somebody on a golf course?" I used to play 100 rounds a year. I don't anymore because I work so hard.
Yeah, Danny. But you understand something. That guy's a busted out golfer, okay?
Sorry, Dennis.
He's busted. I know how he feels. So when he actually hits a good shot, he's excited about it. You do it in your sleep, your eyes closed.
But I was genuinely excited for him.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was. I thought it. Yes, I was. I was genuine. It's exciting when
he was 20 yards off from the green.
He was on the green.
On the green, 20 yards from the flag, and you're excited about him. You hit that ball, you're shaking your head.
That's his point.
I get it.
That was the whole point of the story. I also got a text from another avid listener, of which you are not, Dave Littlewood, I coached both his daughters in hockey, and he had two corrections for me. He said, we were talking about, and you probably wouldn't remember, but the Bruins used to play on Channel 38, and the show after the Bruins was a show called Movie Loft. Did you ever watch that show?
I never watched that show. Never heard of that show.
Okay, well, the guy's name was Dana Hersey. I called him Dana Hershey. There's no H. Dana Hersey. So essentially, after the Bruins games ended, it kicked over to the Movie Loft. And because you had 6 channels, you left it on. You watched the Movie Loft with Dana Hersey. And then after that was the Twilight Zone. Remember the Twilight Zone?
I remember the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I like that. That was fun.
That was a crazy show. And then the second correction, and this is a baseball correction, but I said that, remember when Randy Johnson threw the pitch that hit the bird? Do you remember that?
No.
Did you watch anything growing up?
Not really.
No?
No, I was a movie guy.
You weren't
watching. I'm a movie person.
But you weren't watching sports on TV.
I watched some sports, but I wasn't that big into sports. I like sports, but I was a movie guy.
So if you had,
I watched the Patriots in 1986. I went to 44 games. The Red Sox.
Wow.
44 games in 1986.
That's a lot of games.
12 years old, and I got my heart broken. then after that, I stopped watching sports. Really,
I got my heart broken.
Broke my heart.
I haven't watched sports since.
Not really. Not really. I mean, the Patriots, obviously. I just like to go to games, stuff like that. But
yeah.
No, I didn't see Randy Johnson hit a bird.
You know who Randy Johnson is,
I
right?
know who Randy
the
Johnson
big,
is.
huge left-hander, 6'10" left-hander Hall of Famer.
Awesome.
He threw a pitch and killed a bird. The bird flew, boom, like in a game. The bird exploded like a bomb. It's But so we thought, I forget who was I? Was it with Motts? I think it was with Motts. Motts said that he got arrested for that. And that wasn't true. The guy that got arrested was Dave Winfield. Apparently, Dave Winfield threw a ball from the outfield. He was playing in Toronto, threw a ball from the outfield that hit a bird, and they arrested him after the game for injuring an animal.
But Randy Johnson did not. Dave Winfield did.
But Dave Winfield did.
Same
one was
year?
in Canada. I don't think it was the same year. I'd have to get more clarification, but I'd have to get more clarification on that. But one was in Canada, one was in America, Massachusetts, USA. No, you're not picking up.
No, but it's an interesting story though. I don't think it's.
You don't think that's why he didn't get arrested?
That's not a good look for the MLB.
No, it isn't.
Not a good look.
No. I agree. So my last, not correction, but the last note that I got, we were talking about wakes and funerals.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, it's it's wonderful. Sounds about as good as you chewing that ice in the microphone. Incredible. Did you hear that?
It's a habit.
It's a terrible habit.
It is.
It's like,
I agree.
Yeah.
Not good for your teeth.
So we were talking about wakes and funerals, and why do you go to a wake at a funeral home?
Why do you go to a wake? Because that's where they have them. I mean,
that's not an answer.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
You go there because that's where they have the goddamn bodies laid out. Where else are they laying the body out? Where else,
Why isn't it called a wake home?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Exactly.
That's a good question.
So another one of our avid listeners, Jerry Moffat, who will gets a little shout out. He wanted to know why it's called a wake, because you're not waking anybody up. That was his joke. Little dad joke.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jerry. Went over like.
Yeah, Jerry, that's not a good joke.
Sorry, pal.
But it says wakes are outdated. That's an outdated thing.
I agree.
It shouldn't be even going on anymore.
So we're gonna how do you want it? How do you when you go? What are we doing? Because I'm gonna be there.
I'm gonna be burnt.
First of all, I'm gonna be in the receiving line. It's gonna be me.
Listen, there's a receiving line. There's gonna be like a little ceremony.
Sorry if you lost. Thank you.
There'll be a memorial somewhere. The place where people can get together and talk about me, and then that's about it.
That's it.
That's it.
My
take my body, and then burn it and throw it in the ocean.
And that's it. My brother Robbie wants to have a Viking funeral where they put you on a raft, they push you out to sea, and then they shoot flaming arrows at you, and the raft burns on fire, and that's how you burn out.
He really thinks he's special, doesn't he? Your brother Robbie really thinks
we can say whatever we want because he will never listen to this podcast.
I don't care. But that's not that was kind of a movie. I've never seen that scene out of a movie. I think wasn't that in Troy?
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. A Viking or gladiator death, right?
Game of Thrones.
Something like that,
Game of Thrones, and it was Troy, I believe, with the Greek. That's a Greek thing.
Yeah, well, that's what he wants.
Yeah, well, that's craziness.
All right, so two final things, and then we'll get into Chris. We've been talking for a while now. One, my buddy Jake Borden, if he's out there, he was at Woodstock working. He worked Woodstock. He had one of those yellow shirts on. And then finally, my one request is Duxbury High's golf tournament for the hockey teams is September 23rd. So mark it down on your calendar.
I'll be in Italy. I'll be September 23rd. I'll be in Italy. So.
Write a check.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are you going to Italy?
I'm going to Italy to buy a boat, actually.
Yeah, to buy a boat.
Yeah.
He's leaving the East Coast, which is like one of the biggest boating places, and going to Italy.
That's correct.
There's no boats in
that's
States.
Correct. Now, the boat that I want, I cannot get here on the East Coast or in this country. They don't produce them. They don't make them here.
So you're going over there to get it?
I'm going over there to Italy to get them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you won't be around for the golf tournament?
I will not be around for the golf tournament. And even if I wasn't around, I wouldn't be in here. I wouldn't go anywhere.
But you can write a check. You can
Maybe. I don't know.
Make a donation.
What's the cause?
Helps pay the costs and expenses of the program.
Okay, I'll write a check for something like that. I don't write checks at political figures anymore. I don't do any of that crap.
No, I'm with you on that. We talked about that.
Yeah, no way.
So
Never.
we stay away from a bunch of different topics on this podcast because nobody wants to hear about it. Politics, religion. Care. What was the sexual identity? Maybe I don't know what the other one was. We just stay away from it because no one wants to talk about it. Everybody's talking about that now. We're not going to talk about it.
No problem.
Perfect.
I could care less.
We're going to talk about you.
I don't. What do you want to talk to me about?
We're going to talk about you.
I'm happy to speak about me.
All right, listen. All right, so let's get into it. Chris Fiumara, my business partner, been in real estate for 20 plus years, founder of crowd lending, the Grand Poobah. And where did it all start, buddy? Where did you grow up? Where were you born? Where did it all start?
So I was born in the north end of Boston. We left North End, moved to Newton.
How old were you when you moved to Newton?
I think I was like 3 or something like that. And then we moved to Westwood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we lived in Westwood until I was like about, I want to say 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, so this is my favorite thing about this show is that I've known you, we've known each other since we were 15 16.
Yeah.
I never knew you lived in Westwood.
Yeah, I lived in Westwood until I was about 7 years old.
And you're the second of 3, right?
I'm the second. My older brother Peter, myself, and my younger sister Marissa.
Yeah. So I got to know Chris in high school because his little sister Marissa and I and a bunch of other people all hung out and went to parties together. They were at Newton Country Day, and I was at their academy, and I had buddies that were at St. Sebastian's and Fezziton and all that stuff. So, all right. So born in the North End.
Well, I actually met you, Danny, through Joe Dalton. I first met you at Braeburn.
No, that's not true.
Maybe
that's when we got to I was at the parties that you used to have when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And I knew your sister.
What parties were that, Dan?
When we used to put stuff in baskets to bring down to the church, things like that. Yeah. Go down the food pantry, those types of parties.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh yeah, no.
You remember when your cuts coming back now?
Yeah.
I was the one at the front, always leading the charge, making sure everybody had what they needed. Yeah. I was right there doing that. So
I'm going to say something though about Danny. Okay, growing up, and I'll never forget. It's always stuck in my head with Dan. So he worked at Braeburn Country Club in the bag room. Am I correct in saying that? Because he doesn't he makes it very clear. I looked in the bag room. It wasn't a caddy.
I wasn't a caddy. I worked in the bag room.
It was a bag room.
I had visions of going into the golf business at that stage of my life. I thought I wanted to be a golf professional, like at a country club. I thought that was appealing to me until it wasn't.
Yeah, that's probably a good move that you didn't do that.
Yeah, now I'm here with you doing a podcast.
You're here selling money with me.
Yeah.
And doing a podcast now. Okay.
It's unbelievable.
But either way, you'd be on some golf course talking about the shot and some swing. And, oh, yeah, it should go to the right. Well, move your grip a little bit like this.
He's right. He's not wrong.
It's a lot of bullshit, But my point is this. I'll never forget. I'm like, what am I, 2 years older than you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like 16, I think, 16 and a half, whatever. This guy's at Braeburn in the bag room, and he always had a book in his hand. Always. I mean, at that time, I hated reading.
Did you know how to read at that point?
No, I mean, I did, but not very well.
Yeah.
I got to tell you the truth. I was really good with numbers. I was not a good reader. I just wasn't a good reader.
Yeah.
It wasn't my strong point. And I hated reading. And this guy always had a book. He was like 15 years old, always just avidly reading something. Every time I'd see this guy. And I never forgot that. I'm like, why was this kid reading all the time? Because he wasn't a nerd.
Right.
Okay, he wasn't a nerdy type of kid.
Totally
at
a
all.
cool cat
He
growing up.
was a cool regular guy, but he's always reading. I'm like, where's a cool guy?
Sick
Like, reading
athlete.
this book? Yeah, that's questionable.
Division
But
One athlete.
Division One.
But this
yeah.
isn't about me. This is about you. All right.
I didn't bring you up. I'm talking about you right now. Okay, I'm moving. I'm changing.
Right. That's the kid. This is all my guests want to do that.
Listen,
Right.
I'm just making a point. The kid loved to read at a young age, so it didn't surprise me when I found out he became a lawyer. That's where I'm going with this thing. So eventually he became a lawyer, and those guys have to read and write very, very well.
Yeah,
I wasn't shocked at all when I found he was a lawyer.
All right. So back to you. So you're 3 years old. Now you're in Westwood.
Westwood.
Peter's around. Is Marissa around at this point?
Yes. We're all 2 years apart, you know.
And then you move back to Newton.
Back to Newton. But so let me go back to Westwood for a little bit. My father loved thoroughbred horses, and so he bought this house and had a little farm on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So from the north end he goes to Newton. And what kind of house was it in Newton?
We had like, I don't remember. We had like a little apartment,
Just a little,
like
yeah.
a 2-family house we lived in from there, and then then he wanted to buy.
Then he went
this.
out to the country.
He went out to the country. Went
In
to
his
Westwood.
brain,
Yeah,
he went to
big time.
Westwood.
It was out there though. It really was. I mean, think of Westwood from Boston. That's
Yeah, it's a good
decent
ride.
amount of
Yeah.
ride, you know, on the water, you know, out in
The sticks a little bit.
sticks a little. Anyway, he had this farm and he had this horses come in there, and he bought a horse named Hombre. I'll never forget this horse. It was a gray horse in Spanish, and it was a wild thoroughbred, and it was really, really fast.
How old are you at this point?
Oh, I was like, I want to say 7, and nobody could ride the horse because he was so wild, and everyone that would like get on the horse and try to train the horse, and do quarter miles and furlongs and speed.
Did he have that at the house? Was there a track at the house, or did you?
We had a smaller track at the house, not like a full track like at the horse track. But so the horse would go down to Suffolk Downs or Rockingham, and he'd come back, and they couldn't train this goddamn thing. So he wound up at our house. So I would go in the morning and take this horse and feed him, and it was wild. He would let me in the stall, and it was awesome. I loved this horse. I fell in love with the horse. So what does my father do? Because no one can ride the horse. He's sitting there. It's dead weight. It's costing him money. So all of a sudden, one day, a truck comes in with a trailer, and to take the horse and sell the horse. And I'll never forget that. I got my heart was broken in Westwood. I didn't talk to my father for a month. I wouldn't look at him.
Because he
I wouldn't
sold the
even
horse.
look at the
What
guy.
was the name of the horse?
Hombre.
Hombre, like
Spanish horse. Spanish name. I wouldn't look at my old man. To this point, my mother would still tell the story. Like, you wouldn't even look at your father. That's like the Sicilian deep blood in me at that young age.
you were so
I
mad.
was so mad.
But that's the little nudge that starts the love of horses.
It definitely started my love of horses at that point. And then it gets in your blood at that point. You
Yeah.
can't get rid of it. That's it.
It's like a disease.
You get a connection to a horse at that age, at young age, you're in love with them forever. Doesn't matter.
So is that the only horse that he had at the house, or were there other horses at the house?
He had some other horses at the house. But they weren't thoroughbreds like that. This guy was special. Like, he was a special. He had a beautiful horse. This guy was fast, but he didn't like anyone touching him.
No one
could get on. I got on him. I rode the horse.
You could.
I was the only guy that could ride the horse.
At 7.
At 7, I was riding that horse.
Wow.
And and everyone else get on the horse. They'd buck the horse off. He'd go, me, no problem. We had a great connection. It was beautiful.
And then poof, gone.
Gone.
At 7 years old, imagine that.
Gone.
Hey, Dad, where's my horse? I got rid of him. Go pick up your room, right? Your room's a mess.
I was I'm telling you, I still remember the day. I was at my window looking outside, and I saw them come, and I ran out to the barn. I think I punched my father, and I ran away.
Root Beer's going to cry.
I was so mad. I was so angry at him for that. But now looking back, and now I know why. Because I wound up owning a bunch of horses too.
Right, they're all dead weight.
And pretty much they're all goddamn dead weight.
So Chris owned a bunch of horses, and I owned a couple with him, and everyone's like, "Oh, you've invested in his horses." I said, "No. I donate to the horse." And then we got a trip to the Kentucky
we had
Derby.
A great story, Got into then I went,
before we get there, so now you're 7, 8, 9 years old. You move back to Newton.
Back to Newton, yeah.
And it was a big house in Newton, if I remember.
Big house, nice big house.
Yeah, beautiful.
Old big house.
Beautiful. And then and you go to Newton schools through what? No, you go right to Fezzi?
No. So I went to the Jackson School in Newton.
Was that a private school?
It's like a Catholic school.
Okay.
Jackson School. It's
still around?
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah. I went to Montessori there, then Jackson from 1 to 4, and then grade, and then 5th grade I went to Fezzi.
5th grade you went to Fezzi.
Yep.
So 5th grade is how old? Hank's 11. But obviously your parents put a pretty high value on education.
They very, very, very much so. Yes.
Yeah.
For all of us.
Because Peter go to Fezziton?
Peter went to Rivers for a year, and then he came to Fezziton.
Yeah.
After a year, he didn't like Rivers, and he came over to Fezziton with me. He graduated Fezzi, 9th grade, and he went back to Rivers. Actually,
really?
Yeah, he went back after.
So he was at school. Was he at school with Joey Dalton then? Because
he was.
He was.
But Joey was like a freshman when Peter was a senior.
Okay, got it.
And that's how I really met Joe, because Peter started driving Joey Dalton to school in the morning because he didn't have a license.
And he lived in Newton.
And he lived in Newton as well.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah. So
I went to Fezzi, then Fezzi, I went to St. Sebastian's High School.
Okay.
Did about a year and a half over there, and then after about a year and a half, I had to leave the school.
Okay. So were you asked to leave?
But the official on my transcript says I withdrew from the school.
Withdrew.
I withdrew. So I'm going to go with that. I withdrew from the school.
But you had a meeting with the. You had a meeting. Tell the story. You could tell the story about the meeting with the headmaster.
Do you want to hear the meeting?
The part of the story I like better, and one of the values, because I put a big value on education, as you know, for my kids, and one of the things that my father taught me was the best thing that you can leave is an educated child, right? Because they can never take that education away from the kid. You can give him money, you can give him cars, you can give him boats, but if you give him an education, he'll always have that, or she'll always have that. And I sounds to me, and knowing you and your family, that they put the same value on education.
100%.
So it must have been a trying time in the house when you withdrew from St. Sebastian's.
A trying time. Yeah, it was a transitional time, I'd say.
Yeah.
My brother had already gone to college. My sister was still at Sacred Heart, and I was at St. Sebastian's, now going to Newton North.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had your meeting with the headmaster, but
yes.
you had a meeting after that too.
So you want to hear the story?
Yeah,
now?
tell the story.
All right, here's the story. So basically, I was in a Spanish class exam. It was December, at the end of the semester, and I passed the exam in early.
Mm-hmm.
So I passed it in, and I'm about to walk out of the room, and the proctor said, "You have to stay here and wait till the exam everyone's done." I said, "Well, I'm done with my exam." He's like, "You have to stay here." I said,
I know exactly where this is
I
going.
said, "Oh, I'm not staying here." And he's like, I got up to leave. He goes, "If you leave, you're in serious trouble." I said, "Have a nice weekend." And I walked out. And about an hour later, I had to run to go play. I think I was playing. It was like Xbox, not Xbox. It was
Nintendo,
like Nintendo or Sega. I think it was Sega.
Sega Genesis. Sega Genesis.
Sega just came out at the time. I had to go play like my football game. I get a call from
Tecmo Bowl.
It wasn't Tecmo Bowl. That was on Nintendo. This was Sega. It was. I think it was like a version of Madden at that. I think it was like the first. I think it might have been.
Yeah.
It was right. It just came out.
Yeah.
Anyway, get a call from the dean. "Man, Mr. Chris, we have a problem." I go, "Yeah." I go, "What's the problem?" He's like, "You were insubordinate to Mr. Quinn." His guy's name was Mr. Quinn, actually. I said, "Oh yeah, what did I do?" And he said, "Well, he asked you to stay in the room, and you left." I said, "Yeah, I was done." He's like, "I hear you, but that's not right." So, long story short, you have to go in front of the disciplinary committee board. There's 2 students and 2 teachers on the board, and then they're going to make a recommendation. Blah 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 blah. So, long story short, they recommended that I would be good if I withdrew from the school. I said, "Okay, no problem." The headmaster said to me, "Mr. Burke," I remember the time. Bill Burke, we think it's a good idea for you to leave. He said, "Do you have anything to say?" I said, "No, not really." I said, "You want me to sit here and beg?" I said, "Because I'm not going to do that." I go, "You want me to leave?"
How old are you at this stage?
I was 17.
Yeah.
So the dean of students, Dean Kittler, was a great guy. And at the time, smoking was still very, very
you could do it.
Accepted. Yeah. Let's use that word.
I saw a stat, heard a stat yesterday that in 1960 or something, 45% of adults smoked, and now it's down to 11%.
I think.
And you know what's on the rise? Smoking marijuana.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that makes sense.
It does make sense because there's a marijuana shop on every corner. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, 100% sense. So the long story short here, the dean of students walking me out. I said, listen, Dean, Mr. Kittle, I have one request before I leave. I go, I want to have a cigarette with you in your office. And he looked at me and said, no problem. So we go into his office. He lit up a smoke. I lit up a smoke. We had a cigarette. We talked about my future for a little bit. And then I got
and
my
this
books.
is like 1993.
This was 1992.
Yeah.
No, it was 91. It was December 91. And then I started Newton North in January 92.
After Christmas break, you went there.
Correct. I started, halfway through my junior year.
Was there any talk of going to another school?
There was talk about it, but I at that point I said, no, I'm just going to go to Newton North,
And just do it.
Yeah, because, I was a good football player.
Yeah, what position?
Middle linebacker and left tackle.
Yeah.
And they had good football.
Newton North did.
Yeah, Newton North was in a good division. Yeah, there was really good. There was Walpole was really good back then. Brockton, we played all those guys.
You did.
Yeah.
Well, Brockton, they were like the number one. They were like the big dog, right? For a long time.
Yep.
I remember when I was in high school and even into college, Brockton High football was like the be all end all.
Brockton and Walpole at the time. I remember Coach Lee. Walpole, they had a powerhouse there as well too. And Walpole was in our division.
So you played them.
We played them, and we were the first team to beat them in 9 years.
Really?
Yeah, my senior year.
Really?
7-6.
Jeez, that's like
7-6.
that's like an old school football game, like
it was an old
Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions on the frozen tundra.
And we beat them. We stuck them at the goal line. They went for 2 and they scored a touchdown. And we hit them off the goal line. We knocked them down
To win at 7-6.
To win at 7-6. It was a pretty epic game.
So you're at Newton North and you're playing football. Any other sports?
No, I played football through high school, and that was it. I played baseball when I was younger, 9th grade baseball, and I played basketball in the 9th grade, but I quit all those and just played football.
Just played football.
Yeah.
So what would you do when you weren't just going to school? Were you working as well when you were in high school?
I worked in the North End. I was a busboy when I was 15 years old. I started as a busboy. I used to sell flowers on the street in the North End during the Italian festivals.
Yeah.
I did that. I waited.
But you would go back into the North End constantly, even though you lived in Newton.
Yeah, it was my whole family lived down there. Like my mother's mother lived there, my grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, they were all down there.
They all stayed there.
They all lived there. They all stayed down there. Yeah, they all died there. They all stayed until the day they died. They lived in the North End.
The funny story is your mother's parents lived in the same. They got a divorce.
Yeah.
And lived in the same building for the next 40 years.
Yeah, my mother. They didn't live in the. My grandfather moved down to Miami after they got divorced, but then when he got older, he came back up.
He came back up.
Yeah.
And they lived in the same building.
And they lived in the same building in 2 different apartments in the same building.
One on the second floor, one on the fourth floor, or something, right?
Correct. That's correct. They were still very close after all the years. They weren't. It wasn't a bitter divorce. They were still friends.
Yeah. That's still a great old Italian story, right?
Oh yeah, then my grandmother would get mad if I went to go see him first before I went to go see her. You saw him first? Why don't you come up here first? Nana, what's the matter?
I'm here now, Nana.
I'm here now, right? It was easy for me to go see him first.
Yeah, he walked by the door.
Oh yeah.
To go to.
Oh yeah. She didn't like that. She was mad if I didn't go see her first. So then I'm like, all right.
So you finish up at Newton North and you're making choices for college and sort of what happens there. Walk me through that process.
So then I applied to got into the University of Miami. I got into Barry University in Miami as well. I got actually waitlisted at Rollins College.
Oh my God,
which is a joke, but I got waitlisted over there. And I think I applied to University of Georgia.
You were going south, though.
I was going south.
Yeah, you were getting the hell out of here.
I was getting out of here.
Yeah.
I like the warm weather. I can't stand the cold weather.
Hate it.
Despise it. Even as a little kid, I always hated it. I always hated I hate this weather. So, yeah.
But you're still here.
I'm still here, yeah. So I got in the University of Miami, and my coach decides to put out my football tapes and sends it down to the coach. Erickson was the coach down there, Eric Erickson. And so they invite me down there. I want to meet Erickson. I meet all the players from U Miami. This is like back in, this is early 90s.
Yeah,
90s.
this is when they were like the
well, the 80s was when they really
Michael Irvin and all those guys.
They were down there in the 80s. And that crap, and then they got into a little trouble. Then Erickson came in, and
he was supposed to clean it up.
Yeah, and he did for a while, but then he started. He fell right into the crap too. But it was interesting. So I sit down with the coach. He's like, "Yeah, listen, Chris. I got into Miami. He said, we want you to try out for the team, and if you make the team, We're going to redshirt you, and if you make it next year, we'll give you a scholarship. So I said, Coach, I said, with all due respect, I said, that's a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
You know, which the way I was taking this was basically, you're going to be a beanbag here, and if you can get through the next 2 years, basically getting your ass kicked from all these, sick Division I football players, we'll put you on the team. And I decided I'm not going to do that.
So you've now got two what I would call significant interactions with adults at a young age.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, 17 years old, you're in Bill Burke's office, and you don't say it, but you essentially tell him to go F off. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Double middle fingers, double barrel, the whole, the whole Italian finger off the chin.
I'm not going to go that far, okay?
But you did.
But I was very happy to say, no, this,
right.
No fucking, you don't want me here. I got no problem staying here.
But the expectation of Burke in that meeting was for you to come in and grovel. Please don't throw me out. My parents are gonna kill me. We're gonna ruin my life. And you said, "Nah, I'm good. See ya."
Exactly. He was dying for me to beg.
Can I borrow your lighter?
Yeah.
As you were walking out the door.
Let me have a cigarette.
Hey, I'm done. You flick the butt on the grass at the football field, and then you go down and you meet with the head coach of one of the most prominent Division I programs, and you essentially say no, thank you.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, but go, So I coach a lot of kids, and they're coming up. The girls are coming up to college age, and one of the things it's like, okay, it takes X to get there, right? And you obviously did X, or maybe you didn't even know you were doing X, but it got you the opportunity. But then what you have to do once you're there at that college, it might not be what you really want to do, and you had the foresight to see that.
Listen, I knew I was a good football player. I was a good high school football player.
Yeah,
I could play. I was aggressive. I was quick. I wasn't the fastest guy, but I was pretty quick. I was really light on my feet. But I knew my to get to that level, the work you have to do to maintain that, the commitment you'd have to do.
Yeah,
at that point, I was more interested in like hooking up with girls. You know, that I was 18, 19 years old. That was more important to me.
Right.
Was go to a party,
meeting a girl,
meet girls, whatever, have a good time,
hang out with your buddies.
That's right. And I was like, this isn't gonna be that, no way.
Right, but I can tell you, probably from experience and knowing a lot of people that have gone and played at college sports, that a lot of people don't make that decision. Right? They say, I'll do it. I can do it. I can do it, even though their heart's not in it, or even though they don't understand the level of work. But my point is, at a young age, you were making decisions and having conversations with adults at a much more mature level than a lot of 16, 17, 18
you gotta remember,
year-olds.
okay, so back to my father died when I was 14 years old.
Right.
So
that's where I was going.
Yeah. So when you lose a parent at 14, you've got to start growing up.
Yeah.
You got to start really, get your head out of your ass and just start waking up and start looking around what's really going on around you and start paying attention.
Yeah, because nobody's keeping. Well, I shouldn't say nobody's got their eye out for you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's different. I wasn't one. My mother's wonderful woman, but I was not the easiest kid to deal with. I had my own mind. I had my own thoughts. I had my own way of doing things, and if it was my way or the highway, pretty much in my mind.
Still is
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, a little looser now about it, but yeah.
Wow.
I'm not as strict. It would be the word of you. I'm not as
stuck
rigid,
in your ways.
Rigid.
Well, so I would say that you're more willing to listen to others' ideas that you value.
Correct. And people that I respect.
And then factor those into whatever decision you're going to make. But the decision is going to be yours, right or wrong.
Correct.
But you do listen to more people. I mean, I'm assuming you weren't listening to a lot of people at 16, 17, 18, 19 years old.
No way. It was me. I was an arrogant son of a bitch, And I was pissed off. I had a chip on my shoulder. My old man died. I was pissed.
Yeah.
So I had some anger.
You were mad
at
the world.
I was mad at the world, and I was pissed off. But but I was also bright enough to know, you have to figure things out, and can't go through life a certain way too.
Right. All pissed off at everybody.
No.
World's against you.
No, but so I had a lot going on, And I was a pretty good looking kid and good shape and
Handsome.
real handsome
Yeah.
guy. And then now I'm half busted out now, but
Well, you're handsome for an old guy.
yeah, not bad for an old guy.
Not bad for an old guy. That's what you look. Yeah, Father Time's been okay for you.
Yeah.
So where do you decide to go?
So I wound up going to Barry University in Miami, which is a Dominican, Catholic university.
Got it.
It was great.
So, but it's not. But obviously, there was a connection. Well, let me ask you this: was there a connection to Miami growing up that sort of made you gravitate towards those schools? Because you just listed 3 schools that are down in that area.
Yeah. So my mother's father had a restaurant in Miami Beach.
Yeah.
On Lincoln Road Mall since 1972. When he got divorced, he went down there and opened up an Italian restaurant. So I've been going down there since 1970. I'm born in 74. Since 75, I was going down to Miami.
Really?
Yeah. As infants all the time. We go down there every year.
So there's the little nudge that leads you to sort of guiding your decision as it relates to college.
100%.
Because you wanted to go down there. You liked it down there.
We go down there, growing up as a little kid, and then March break, we go down there for 2 weeks, see my grandfather for 2 weeks for March.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved the weather, pretty girls,
great scene,
good party scene. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, that's where I want to be.
I'm going out of Miami.
Yeah.
And I lasted 2 years down there. 2 years because I partied way too much.
Yep, at college, you mean?
At college, yeah. 2 years of just,
doing your thing.
Getting after it pretty good.
Good. Okay, then you went somewhere else.
Dan, you don't want to go there.
We're trying to keep it clean, make sure the proper message gets out to our audience.
We're not saying anything that's not clean. It's a reality. Yeah. I wound up leaving Barry U, going back up to Boston, and I got my real estate license.
So you're what, 20 years old at this point?
I was 20 years old. Maybe, yeah, I think I just turned 20.
Why did you get your real estate license?
Because I was renting apartments in Brighton, Allston.
Right, but you were renting them before you got your license?
No. So my best friend Jared, he got his license the year before. He goes, Chris, get your real estate license. He said, rent apartments. So he's like, you're going to make like $10,000, $15,000 in the summer. I said,
yeah.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah, of course.
In 1995. 10, 15, 20,000 bucks was,
yeah, for a 20-year-old kid,
But even still, even for in life at that time, 20 grand was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, I figured out, I got the license, did that for 2 years in Boston at that point. Then I decided to go back to college.
Okay.
And went to college in London. So I did 2 years. So I did 2 years in Boston, and then I moved to Colorado.
Oh, I see. I didn't know this.
I moved to Colorado for a year, and that's where I broke my back.
Oh, I did know this actually.
Yeah.
So what happens there? You go, you moved to. So how did you end up in Colorado? Who?
So once again, Jared, my best friend.
Jared, that I know, Jared.
Yes, to Jared, Jared graduated college.
He's a big nudge in your life.
He is. He's a big nudge in my life.
Yeah.
He went to the University of Michigan. He graduated college. He goes, Chris, I'm going to Colorado. We're going to be ski bums out for the season. I go, why'd you come? I said, you know what? Perfect. I'll go to Colorado. I'll be a ski bum, and then at the end of it, I'll go back to college in London, England. So I gotten into a college, Richmond College in London.
So you're already in college.
I got accepted. I'm like, I'll be a ski bum for another year. I'll hang out with Jared out there in Vail, and then in the August I'll go to London.
Okay.
And that's what I did. So while I'm down there, I was driving a limousine. That was my job. I was a limousine driver.
Imagine him picking you up in a limousine. Did you wear like a tuxedo?
No, it wasn't like a limo you're thinking. We're in the mountains, so it was like SUVs. They were like the big
Ford Expeditions or whatever.
Yeah, they were nice. They were actually really nice, cars because you're doing the pass. You know anything about Vail, Denver? No. You gotta go through a pass to get up to Vail, and the pass is pretty, dicey. So it wasn't the
through the mountains.
Through the mountains, you get up to the pass, and if it's snowing out or bad stuff going on, there's avalanches and. People have gotten killed on that pass, driving it,
Really?
Oh, yeah. Big time. So that was my job. 4 days a week I do that, and I would snowboard 3 days a week. And I was making good money. I was getting like $400 a week to drive and then tips. And I had all these famous people in the car.
Yeah.
I had Melissa Etheridge with me back then. She was like a big thing.
Yeah.
And her lesbian partner, they were in the car with me a couple of times, and a couple of like country guys, singers were in the car. It was fun. So you met a lot of different like celebrities and everything else. And then
would you talk to them while you're driving? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were very interested in talking.
Like I am now.
Yeah, they wanted to talk. Oh, that's what you do in a limousine drive. You got time to kill, right?
Yeah.
And but
I don't talk to the drivers. Like when when I press the Uber thing and it says like preferences, I click on silent.
Okay, but that's only like a 20-minute ride on average, right? You're not going very far. We're in the car for 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
So, and I would never be the guy initiating conversation. I was friendly, and then they would start talking.
Yeah.
I would always respect them because if they didn't want to talk, I get it.
Yeah.
And then they would be like, oh, how's the mountain? How's the weather? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I do that, whatever. Great time. I had like 40 days on the mountain. Snowboarding was great out there. Nothing like snowing up here in the East.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's a completely different experience.
Yeah. I've been to Vail. I've skied Vail.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Compared to like Loon Mountain and these bust out mountains up here.
Completely different.
Oh, it's terrible.
But everybody's got the bumper sticker, Ski the East. Do you see those bumper stickers?
No, I didn't see those.
Because people get mad because everybody discredits the skiing the East. So
it's an ice trap. It's all you're skiing. But I'll tell you, if you learn how to ski in the East and you go out there, you're a much better skier. Though.
Yeah, you can ski anywhere.
So I took a jump. So I was getting really, snowboard. I started snowboarding, Dan. I had to get a license to snowboard.
That's amazing.
That's how long ago I had to start snowboarding. They wouldn't let you on the mountain unless you were certified, and they put your picture on you, and you had to have a weird tag around your neck when you go into the guy.
Yeah, they were like lepers.
Oh yeah,
snowboarders were like lepers back in the day.
Big time
when they first started.
Big time. That's how long. I was like
the people you banned mountains banned. Did they allow them at Vail?
They did. They at that time they allowed them at Vail. This was like in the '85. I started snowboarding in '85, and that's when it just came out. Like Sims, Burton, and it was a very small group of people. A lot of people that they were like this, like skateboarder.
Yeah,
guys.
Alternative. And everybody thought they were like bad news, so they didn't want them at the mountain.
That's right.
They're from the wrong side of the tracks.
It was discrimination. Really,
100%.
At the end of the day,
based on your skiing preference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or
So
snowboarding.
So I was a decent snowboarder. I wasn't a great snowboarder. I was a decent snowboarder. I started getting more confident. I took a 20-foot jump, took the edge, fell off the edge, and I landed on my back. I'm 20 feet up in the air, cracked my L1 vertebrae, cracked my back. Boom, heard it crack. Couldn't feel my legs. Couldn't move my legs.
Wow.
Sitting there, couldn't move my legs, which it felt like, a day, but it was only maybe about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They started tingling coming back a little bit, but they had to rush me off.
That's scary.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, that was it. They rushed me off the mountain, bring me into the thing. They're like, listen, you need a surgery. He's like, and this, the doctor, I'll never forget this day. He said this, you need a surgery. He's like, and there's a 50% chance that you're going to die during the surgery, and you have a 60% chance of being paralyzed.
Jesus, you're kidding me.
If you take the surgery. Oh, yeah. I looked at the doctor. I said, what choice do I? He goes, you don't have a choice. I had to sign a waiver, and I started bawling, and then they took me out, and I'm like, I'm dead.
This is it.
That was it.
This is how I died.
And I came out of it, and I got lucky, and I'm walking.
So they did the surgery?
They did the surgery, oh, yeah.
Like immediately?
Immediately. They had to go immediately. They had to stabilize because what happened is when I broke my vertebrae, it went halfway into my spinal cord. It didn't sever it. It went halfway in, and that's why I couldn't feel my legs, and it popped out. But they had to stabilize that so it wouldn't go back in.
So it wouldn't do it again.
Break through in.
Right.
They stabilized it. They put 5 fusions in there and Harrington rods in my spine from the T11 to my L3. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was a serious surgery. I thought I was dead.
That's a good doctor.
Dr. Korneman. Never forget his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I write him a letter every year.
Do you really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I write him a letter thanking him.
How old is he now? He's got to be.
Oh, he's old now. This guy's old. But you ever hear the Stedman Group? Orthopedic Stedman Group? They're the ones who do. So Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
He went to Colorado. Remember he got in trouble in Colorado with that girl?
Yeah, a little situation.
He was at the Stedman Group, orthopedic surgeon.
That's why he was there.
That's why he was there. He was like the same orthopedic surgeon.
So he went to the ortho and did his thing on the side.
Yes. And then when I actually broke my back, Bruce Smith, who was a big football player
for the Buffalo Bills. Yeah.
He was actually in the other, like 2 doors down from me.
He used to terrorize the Patriots.
Yeah. This is back when he terrorized them bad.
I think he was number 78, wasn't he? Number
78.
Yeah.
He was, and he
was
killed us.
An animal.
Yeah, and this was back in the heyday.
Did he go on to like do movies?
I don't know.
I think he did.
Did he?
I think he went on to be like a.
This was 1998.
We'll have to put that in corrections, maybe.
Yeah. 1998, I broke my back. February 28th, 1998, I broke my back. I know exactly the day.
All right, so now you come back and you go to London.
So I go back, I heal up, and I wound up I go to London, and I went from getting I think I had 39 credits I got at Barry University in 2 years. Okay, so you're supposed to get 30 credits a year, right? I got 39 in 2. I go back to London. I wound up getting 90 or 88 credits.
Why did you go to London, though?
You know, my mother gave me the guilt. Your father always wanted you to go to college. He wanted you, going back to your point, Dan, he wanted us all to be educated.
Kids, yeah.
She put that guilt on me. I said, okay, Mom, listen, I'll go back. I go, but I'm going to Europe.
I'm doing it on my terms.
I'm going to do it on my terms. I'm going to go to Europe. I'm going to enjoy Europe and see Europe. And, England, everyone speaks English there, so it's easier to just deal with the everyday regular.
Right.
I have to deal with that, but, learning a new language.
But you got to see all of Europe when you were over there.
Traveled all over Europe. So that was the biggest. That's when I fell in love with America. Yeah, that's when I fell in love with America. I took America for granted.
Up to that point.
Until I moved over there, and I lived there for 2 years.
Yeah.
I lived there only for a year and a half. I went to Hawaii my last semester of college from London. But
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was.
Think about all the. I mean, yeah, I've lived in Brighton. I've lived in Charlestown. I've lived in Hanover, and I've lived in Duxbury. I lived in London. I lived in Hawaii. I spent some time in Colorado. You spent some time in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
I did at UCLA. Did a summer school session at UCLA.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was out there for summer school. Went back to London after that. Then I went to Hawaii for my last semester. I went abroad from London to Hawaii. They had a program at the school to go abroad.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. No, it's great. It was an amazing experience. But I fell in love with America. That's when I realized how great this country is, though, when I lived in London. That's when I learned how amazing America was. Because when you live abroad and you really understand a different culture, we live in the best country in the world. And no one, you're not going to understand that until you leave this country.
Yeah.
So any young people, you got your high school girls that listen to this, and I'm going to recommend you go to college and make sure you go, not for a semester, for a year.
Yeah.
Go for 2 semesters abroad. It will be the best thing you'll ever do in your life. It opened up my whole brain.
So we talked about that. I talked about that last night with Annabelle because there's some programs at her high school that you could go abroad in high school. And she's like, Dad, I don't want to go abroad in high school, but I'll go abroad in college. So we were actually talking about that very thing because another buddy of mine's kid is in Barcelona doing a semester in Barcelona. So I think that's on the radar and that's something that I did not do and regret it. I'm very, my whole life is like, I make a joke about where I've lived, but literally those are the 4 towns that I've lived in, right? Brighton, Charlestown, Duxbury, and Hanover. Never lived anywhere else. Never really traveled anywhere else. So, and I'm dying, and my wife will never do this. Maybe you'll do it with me as my work husband. I want to get an RV, and I want to drive all around America.
So Rob did it. I saw Rob Lally the other night. Yeah. Remember he said he did it.
He did it.
The whole summer. He did July and August.
And an RV.
Remember we were talking about that with him?
Yeah.
He went in July and August. He just got back like 10 days ago.
Did his kids go with him?
Kids went with him. It was the best experience they ever had.
Yeah.
They just bonded together, living in the car, Yellowstone. They saw the whole country.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's on my bucket list.
It was great. He said he had a really, really great time. I don't know if I may go for a week with you, Danny. Okay, buddy.
You're going to fly private into where I am and then fly private out of it.
No, I would start the trip with you here, and then wherever we get to, I'll jump on a plane.
That's it.
And then jump out from there. But I would definitely go across. I've never done cross country. That would be cool.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd like to do that. I'd like to go across the top and then, or whatever you do, down the, I guess
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay. Yeah. Don't think about it right now.
I'm not going to think about it right now.
We'll figure it out.
All right, so you come back from London and you get into real estate.
Yeah, so I was in London. So I got my real estate license before I went to London, right? So while I was before I went to London, so we're talking about real estate, we're talking about personal life, we're talking real estate now. I was renting the apartments, and in 1995, rent control got abolished in Massachusetts, and that's when I was doing the rentals, 95, 96. So there was apartments that I was renting for like $900 in 95 that were going for $1,600 in September of 96.
Yeah.
It was because the rent control
they got rid of it.
Was lifted.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're talking about putting it back in place.
Yeah, no, I know about that. It's a nonsense world.
We're going to stay away from that.
No, we'll stay away from that. Yeah, we'll stay away from that. That's not going to happen, though.
No, I know it's
no
not
way
it's
not going to happen.
I know.
So so this one condo I rented out for this landlord. I rented the place out. He came in. He goes, "Hey, Chris," he's like, I want to sell the condo. I was 21 years old, no money,
Busted out,
just barely making rental. Making at the time 2-bedroom apartments were going for like $800. I was making $400 for my end. I go, "How much you want for the condo?" He goes, "I want $110,000." I go, "I'll buy it." He goes, "What?" I go, "I'll buy the condo." He goes, "You will?" I said, "Yeah." So I did the math on it. Blah 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 blah. I could like make about $800 a month just off this piece of property. So I wound up pulling credit card advances.
Yeah, no money.
No money. I get credit card advances to buy this condo. And I borrowed a few bucks from my buddy Jared. He gave me a couple bucks as well, too.
Yeah.
And I get a hard money lender.
We are now.
Yeah,
here at crowd
kinda.
lending.
It wasn't as it wasn't. It was. I would say that it was a national lender. They just had higher rates and they had higher criteria, so they weren't really a hard money lender.
Soft money.
It was a soft money, but it wasn't. But they didn't call it soft money back then.
Right.
But it was, for the argument's sake, yes, it was a soft money lender.
Yeah.
I paid 10, 1 in 10.
Yeah.
At that time.
1% origination, 10%.
Correct. So I bought the condo for $110,000, and then long story short, rent control comes in. All of a sudden, if you look at the chart of real estate in Boston, Massachusetts, that's when things really started going up. Right in 1996.
Yeah.
Everything started really going from there.
Because there's no rent control anymore.
Rent control lifted.
The market set the rates.
Changed everything.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden there was 6 other units in that building. My value went up. The other guy wanted to sell his unit. I bought his unit. I refinanced mine because my value went up. Bought his. Then that guy went up. The other one went up. I wound up buying out the whole building.
Yeah.
Okay.
How old are you at this point?
Well, I was in London, so I bought the first one right before London. And then while I was at London, I kept on buying these condos. My brother Peter was helping me do it because he was in Boston.
Yeah.
So he was helping me, just do some stuff, blah, 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 blah. I was 23, 24.
Yeah.
And I wound up getting all the units by the time I was 26 or 27.
You owned the whole building.
The whole building. And then I created a 7th unit in the basement. I got a variance because the guy across the street got a variance for the same exact thing, so they couldn't deny me.
Right. So now you create another unit.
Get a 7th unit in the building. I have 7 units. And I have it's a condo building. I have all the units over there. I ran it for like maybe 4 years, and I dumped the building in 2001 for $2.3 million, and I was into the thing for like $800,000.
Wow.
And that's how I got started.
That's the starting point.
That was my starting point.
Yeah.
That's how I made my money, and then from there I continued to parlay that into a bunch of different other things.
Yeah, houses in Nantucket, Newport.
Correct.
Yeah, but all this time, where are you living?
So I was living in London until 99, and then I came back and went to Hawaii from 2000. No, was it 99?
So you go back to Hawaii.
I went to Hawaii.
Oh no, that's for
I came back to Boston in
when did you come back to Boston for good?
2000.
2000.
Yeah.
When do you meet Joy?
I met Joy in 2000. What is it now? 22. I met her in 20. What was it? She had her accident in 09. 09. Yeah.
And you guys have been together for
13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 13 and a half years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, long time.
No kids.
No kids.
No marriage license.
No marriage license, no.
So this goes back to doing it your way, wanting to be able to do your own thing and go wherever you want to go.
It wasn't that. When I met Joy's 10 years older than me, and I knew she didn't want to have kids or get married at that point. And I picked a girl like that because I didn't want to get married or have kids. So I made sure I was with the woman that was off the table.
That thought the same, had the same
That's
thoughts.
Right. And I told her from the first day when I went there, I go, if you're looking to get married and have kids, I'm not your guy. Went to Mistral. I brought her to Mistral. I go, that's
First date.
Mistral. And that was it. And she said, no, I've already been married. I'm divorced. I'm not looking to have children.
I'm all good.
I go, then we're going to get along just great.
We're going to get along just great, you and me.
And we have. And then we've been together for 13 and a half years
And
now.
She's from Rhode Island.
Rhode Island girl,
So that's the nudge that got you down to living in Rhode Island, down in Newport.
Nudge that brought me into Newport. It was her, yes.
Yeah.
Love Newport. Newport's great.
It's a great city.
Love it down there.
Yeah.
Great place. I'm a Rhode Island resident.
You are.
I am.
Yeah. Tax advantages.
Not really.
No.
Actually, no.
You just want to be
I
identified.
actually could get better taxes in Mass.
You just want to be identified as a Rhode Island.
No, I just like I have my home's there. You know, I have an interest payment I can deduct by staying. I live in Rhode Island, so
it is a tax reason.
But I have a house in Boston too. I could do the same thing here.
Oh,
okay. I have the option to do it here too, I choose not to. You know, the auto insurance. There's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I like Rhode Island too. I like being a Rhode Islander.
Why is that funny to me?
I don't know.
It's funny though. It is funny.
How
long have you been down there?
I've been down there since 2011. Yeah, 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Joy was the reason you went down there. She's the nudge that got you to Rhode Island.
She's the one who got me down to Rhode Island. Yeah. I went down there one day with her. We took a ride, and I just fell in love with the place. I'm like, wow, this place is great.
It's beautiful down there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You don't even feel like you're in New England. It doesn't have.
It's almost like English. It's got like an English,
it's got its own flavor.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know how to describe it. You feel like it's California. You go to the coast on Ocean Drive there.
Yeah.
You drive around. It's
got the cliffs. It's got the mansions. It's got all that stuff.
It's got its own flavor. And it's just a nice spot. And it's only an hour and 10 minutes from Boston.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's a simple ride back and forth.
And you got an electric car.
Got an electric car. Yeah, I just bought an electric car in February.
Why'd you buy an electric car?
Because I wasn't going to continue to fight. The river goes in one direction. Everyone likes to fight. I'm not going to go upriver. I'm going to go downriver.
So downriver.
I'm going downriver with the electric cars. And I was fighting it for years. I was reading about it, thinking about it, talking about it, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, wow, that would make sense. And then finally, I was in Florida in January. My buddy bought a Tesla. And he picked me up in the Tesla. We're driving. And he told me all about the car. And what sold me was, I go, well, how far can you go with this thing? That's all you think about.
Yeah,
right?
What do you call it?
It's called range anxiety.
Range anxiety.
Range anxiety. It's a real thing. Look it up online. It says
if it's online, that makes it real.
Oh, well,
just so you know.
It's defined. It's my point is
if it's online, it's real.
Listen, you can look it up and they'll define it and they'll tell you what it is. But people just have this anxiety about how far the thing can go. So when I asked him, I go, how far? He goes, Chris, I just took this thing to Miami. I would take this car to Boston from Florida. I said, what? And then when he explained that to me, how he had no problem at all driving that car from Boston, from Florida up to Boston, that's all I had to
But you had range anxiety when you first bought it.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
But I fought through it. I fought through my fears.
Got through your fears.
Okay, and I wound up buying this thing right before Ukraine. And everyone thought I stepped in. I go, how did you know? I didn't know anything. I just bought the car. I wanted to buy an electric car. Then Ukraine happens in March.
What effect did that have on electric cars?
What effect did it have on electric cars?
That was the question that I asked you. Yeah.
I'm surprised you're asking that question. Though Gasoline went up to the roof.
Oh yeah, gasoline.
Okay, yeah. So electricity, didn't.
Yeah.
So I just to put it in perspective.
Yeah, but you got lucky. You got lucky as hell buying that car at the time you bought it.
Right place, right time. I'd rather be lucky than good, brother.
Well,
luck goes a lot farther than being good.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I've learned that. I've been good and lucky, and luck's taught me a lot farther.
So talk about luck for a little bit. You spent some time in Vegas playing poker, right?
I did.
When was that?
In 2007, 2008, when the real estate market went to shit and the Great Recession showed up.
Yeah.
I was a very good poker player.
What do you mean? Like that? What do you mean?
Well, I was a professional poker player. I was ranked.
So you were like, you were like on TV?
I was on television, yeah, many times.
Really?
I was in the World Series of Poker, yeah. Yeah.
How far did you make it in the World Series of Poker?
Day 2. I got knocked out by some thing that happened to me, but that's the way.
That's cards.
That's poker. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So
you'd rather be lucky and have good cards than be good at poker.
No, you need both.
In poker.
You need it in life.
In life.
And in poker. But you as good as you are in poker, if you don't get some luck, you will not go far.
You got to get the cards.
You need to be good, not the cards. That's not it. You need to be good.
So I don't understand what you're saying. Because just tell me, because luck.
I don't play cards.
Luck will take you further than good.
That's right.
But luck is getting the cards. That's lucky.
Nah, yes and no.
100%.
No, yes and no. No, I'm not going to say that. That's getting the cards is lucky. No.
Okay.
Luck is when you're bluffing and you have, you're bluffing a big pot, and you're sitting on 4 hearts, and you need the last card to come a heart, or you're busted.
Yeah.
Okay, and the heart comes in after you.
Are we saying the same thing?
No, that's luck.
I'm saying the same
It's the way
exact
you
thing.
play the luck too. It's a lot more than what
You
saying.
like poker though. You're big.
Not anymore. I mean, not really. I mean, I don't dislike the game. I don't play it much anymore now.
No.
You know, no.
Explain to people what the bubble is.
The bubble. Yeah, you want to talk about that story?
No. I just want.
You don't want to hear that story? You brought the bubble up, huh?
No, I want people to know what the bubble is, because I think it's an interesting term, and I like the term.
Bubble. Okay, so let's say you're playing in a tournament, and like golf, they pay out the top 25 guys, whatever, in any tournament. So if you come in 26th, that's the bubble. It means you got bubbled.
You got bubbled.
You right before you're supposed to get paid money, you were the last guy out.
So could you make, if you had to pay entry fees into these?
Correct.
So could you make it if as long as you got? Could you
if I came in 25th, I'm getting my money back and then some.
You're making money.
Yeah. So let's say it was $1,000 entry fee, and I think the first guy gets like $1,800.
Okay, so you make a couple bucks.
So you make $1,000 back, you make $800.
How long would the tournaments last?
They go for a long time.
Days.
No, some of them did, yeah. But most of them, they started like noon. The ones I would get into a lot were like they started at noon and they'd end at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wow! So to go for 15, 16,
16 hours,
and you're playing the whole time.
You're playing the whole time. You get some breaks in between.
Yeah.
These are tournaments now. It's not cash games.
Yeah.
Totally different game.
Yeah.
Poker, but it's a whole different strategy.
Why why is it different?
It's just because you can't re-up. You
can't go back in. You can't just reach into your pocket.
That's right.
So you're betting. You got what you got, and if you
bust out,
you bust out.
You walk. You're out of the tournament.
Yeah.
So
which makes betting differently, right?
It's and people play a lot more conservatively.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid to lose their chips, and I never did that. I'm not. I didn't play conservative. I was always very aggressive, very very aggressive.
So did you win any tournaments?
Oh, I won about 15 of them.
Really?
Yeah. I won a lot of tournaments.
Is there any place we can check this out?
Yeah, go online. Check them out. Fiumara. I was ranked at one point.
Just type in your last name and you.
Yeah, we're going back a while, but I was I was at the World Series of Poker. That guy, everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah.
That show.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big dude in there.
Yeah. What's his name?
You have Brad Garrett.
Brad Garrett, I think.
Yeah.
You have a funny story about him, don't you?
Yeah. So I'm in there. We sit at my table, and I've been hearing for years how you remind me of that guy.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
No,
okay.
his doppelganger is sitting at the table with him.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. So he's sitting there. Yeah,
it's a little eerie right now as I look across the table.
So he's sitting down. We're playing poker. And he's sitting there, and everyone's really excited that he's there, and I'm not really excited.
You're not a big guy.
No, I'm not a jock sniffer.
No, you're not a jock sniffer at all. Couldn't care less.
So after we're playing for about an hour, he's talking to everybody. I go, listen. I said, Brad, let me tell you something. I said, I've been listening for 10 years. How everyone thinks that I look like you. I go, but I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a lot better looking than you are. He looked at me. He goes, "Yeah, you are. You are a lot better." I go, "No, I know I am." I go, "I know I'm much better." And this guy wouldn't. So then he was laughing whenever I got him going. Ray Romano shows up at the table. Big thing, the cameras, the TV, blah 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 blah. I'm getting irritated
because
I'm playing poker. I'm a serious poker player. I got a whole
gong show going on.
Show going on here. So after
a rigmarole, not a rigmarole.
Rigmarole.
Because a rigmarole is different. Just see everybody's clear. Not a rigmarole. A rigmarole.
Fiumara language.
Oh, it is Fiumara. Oh, and it's a special language.
Okay.
How many times am I like, what word was that? We say
what's that?
How many times in our conversations do I say to you, what word was that?
Yeah, that's right. And you know what it was.
Of course.
You know the language I speak.
Yeah. Because I'm
special language.
Yeah.
Fiumara.
I tell people that I'm bilingual now.
With me.
Yeah. I speak English and Fiumara language.
Yeah. So listen, I go back.
I speak Fiumerican.
So I'm gonna go back to the story. So so this is going on, and I'm getting irritated. So finally, I go, Brad.
He's much bigger than you, though. He's a big guy.
He's taller than me. He was actually kind of skinny. He wasn't very thick. Actually, he was pretty tall. I said, Brad, Hollywood's that way. I said, if you want to go down back to Hollywood, I go, what do you want to play poker? Which one do you want to do? You want to play Hollywood or play poker? Because I'm getting sick of this. Okay, and then everyone's and people were just like,
This guy is nuts.
And he's like, no. He's like, you're right. The guy agreed with me. He's like, I'm going too far. I'm like, yeah, the show's got to stop.
Because I'm just here to play poker. I'm trying to make a living.
Yeah, well, I wasn't trying to make a living. I'm a competitive guy. Okay, and I'm a good player, and I had a shot to. I think I could have went far in the tournament. And
you didn't want to deal with his bull.
Just sick of it. It was a distraction. You got to focus in. You got to learn your players.
Yeah,
it's not about cards. You got to learn who you're playing against.
Yeah,
that's what I say to you. That's where the skill comes in.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought was interesting that you told me was like when you go register, you want to register early, right? So that
So they changed it now, Dan. By the way, because I recently went into a tournament maybe like a year ago, and they don't do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell them.
So what real important thing I learned in the course of my poker days is you want to get there early and register early because they'll put you at table 1. And if you put at table 1 or table 2, you don't move. You're going to stay at that table.
As people lose, you mean? Like if you're out on table 13 or whatever, as they consolidate.
They keep consolidating the table, so you're constantly getting dispersed. You don't get that's not good for for poker. You want to sit at one table. You want to learn your plays. You want to know what's going on all the time. And if all of a sudden they disperse a table, you got to go to a new table and you have to relearn all the players again.
Yeah.
And it's just you're starting all over again. It's just more work. There's an advantage by staying in one table and not having to leave.
But they did away with that.
They did away with that now.
Yeah.
Now it's random now. Before they would just like because they didn't know if they could fill the tables. So the system was set up to be like do table 1 and then table 2, number 3. Right. Now they know they're going to get 100 players or they're going to get whatever. And people, that became an advantage for the good players to know that they came in. If you came in early, that guy had an advantage over me. So that isn't fair.
Yeah.
So that was an advantage I had when I used to play.
But just, it goes to the mindset and just trying to figure out the system and beat the system. Use it to your advantage.
Beat the system or just learn the system and work the system.
Yeah, use it to your advantage.
That's it. You work the system.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say beat it. You can't really beat the system, but you can work it.
Yeah.
And if you know how to work it, you can win.
Yeah.
Or it works you.
Yeah. So where are you now? How'd you get here?
I don't know.
How'd you get to this table? First I don't want to go. We could talk about all your real estate exploits. You've been very successful.
We can do a part 2.
Yeah, everybody wants to do a part 2. You ever notice that,
Yeah.
Root Beer? Everyone's like, well, the next time I come on, you're not coming on again.
Well, I will be coming on again, and we'll do a part 2. We can discuss other things at that point.
Well, maybe we'll do like a whatever. Go on.
A what?
Forget. I was going to say a different rated show. We could tell some other stories.
I mean, we can tell them right now.
No, we're not telling stories.
Are you afraid?
We're just gonna
keep it PG-13.
Yeah, keep it PG-13.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep it on the level.
It's on the level, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm on the level.
All of a sudden, he's like, hey, man. 1970s Chris Fiumara just come out. Hey, man.
I'm on the level, man.
Yeah, you are, man. You're right there.
That's right.
What level you're on remains to be seen.
Hey, I'm on a good frequency over here at Crowd Level, man. I'm on a great frequency here.
I'm on a good.
I got
what
Danny
frequency are you on? That's incredible. I'm on a good frequency. I swear to God, we just went back in time. 1968. We just left Woodstock, the Grateful Dead show. Right? You've been on that tour. You Grateful Dead.
I did. I went to a Grateful Dead concert this year in July in New York.
So we've been together,
Great
Chris.
time.
We've now been together 7 years. Almost, seven full
7
years.
plus, maybe. Yeah.
Best thing that ever happened to you.
That's right. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd be without you, Dan.
That's right.
I'm serious. Dan's the best. I love him. He's my nudge. I can't stay away from him.
That's right.
That's right.
Phone rings constantly, all hours of the night.
That's it.
That's what. So he doesn't understand that 9 o'clock, 9 p.m., 7 a.m. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to get my kids to bed or whatever. He's calling. I'm not answering. He gets mad at me.
No. I understand. I just don't care. That's the difference. I understand completely.
Yeah.
But
I just don't care.
I choose not to worry about that.
Yeah. You want me to be your what do I call it?
your 5 o'clock call.
Drive time.
Your drive time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants me. He's driving somewhere. Call me. But now you're here, crowd lending. What else you got going on?
I would rather listen to the Grateful Dead than talking in the car.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. In the car, I love listening to the Dead.
Well, you should turn on the podcast.
I don't even know how to do that. I don't even know how to listen to a podcast.
So I'm going to tell one the story. This ruined my life. By the way, we drove to Oswego, New York. Chris and I did, and I'm driving, and he takes my phone. He says, "I'm going to organize your phone for you." Okay, so he moved all my apps, all of them. To this day, this is like 3 years ago. I have no idea what is on my phone. Can't find anything. And I'm like, no, don't do that. He's like, well, this is the way I like it. I said, well, it's not the way that I like it. So that's just like a microcosm of Fiumara. I live in, this is how your phone will be, and it shall stay that way forever. Because I have spoken.
I just did that to Joey Dalton.
Did you?
He's going nuts.
Yeah.
Same thing. He can't find anything anymore. He's going crazy.
It's a pain in the butt.
It's great. So you just have to embrace it.
I know.
You have to embrace, instead of fight it, once again, the river's going in one direction.
Yeah, we want to go down river.
Go down river.
So that's the advice for the day.
Go down the river. Don't go up and fight the river.
I would actually say that a lot of the stuff that you've done in your life, you've gone up the river.
I have.
Yeah.
I've gone in both directions.
Yeah. And I would say that some of the most successful stuff that you've done, you've gone up the river.
That's right. Let me tell you something in my life, my business. When everyone tells me I'm wrong or I'm crazy, I know I'm so on, because
that's when you know you're right.
Because no one can see what I can see at that time. They can't see it.
Yeah.
That's when I know I'm so on the money. When everyone thinks I'm crazy, because they have no vision of what I'm looking at.
And I will say that's one of your strengths is you do have an innate ability to have vision, whether it's in design of the home or just the deal itself and how to put it together. It's a talent. But I'm gonna you've given me a nudge, and it came from being made fun of, and my math skills have improved dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
In the last 5 years, because every time I would do math and get something wrong, you suck at math. You're good at reading. You're good at writing. I'm the math guy, and that drove me crazy. So your nudge back to me was the math, but you have a bigger nudge. So one of the things we talk about a little bit on the show, it's sort of a new part of the show. Is okay, all these little nudges that led you here, whether it was your dad with the horse, your dad passing away, your conversations with Burke, your conversations with Erickson, Jared, all these little nudges, right, got you to where you are today. But we had a meeting a while back with the guys from Angus Construction, and he was talking about a charity, and you do a lot of charitable work, and that's sort of your nudge. How are you nudging other people? So we'll just wrap up on this high note. So talk about Joy a little bit.
So Joy, so I was with Joy for 2 years, dating her for 2 years, and she had got run over by a car in Beacon Hill.
How did that happen?
It was a runaway car that was parked on a hill on Mount Vernon. That was Mount Vernon Street, yeah, Mount Vernon Street, and the brake gave up, rolled down. She was walking, and she got run over.
She was walking on Charles Street.
Walking on Charles Street, yeah. So she got severe burns and brain trauma. She almost died, and she survived it. And she's had 40 different surgeries and laser surgeries. She's been through the ring of the kid, and she's a
strong as an ox,
strong fighter, just a really great person. So we now raise money for the burn survivor of New England in Massachusetts. And we raise a lot of money for them every year. We get almost. Well, $400,000 I think we've raised already.
Really?
Since we started it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good cause.
You throw a big party.
Big party in December. We have a lot of fun stuff going on at the party. People have a good time, and it's just it's a good event.
And it's a good fundraiser, and it's a good cause, and every year Chris has a special guest. Shall we call it special entertainment?
And
he doesn't tell anybody. Not even I don't even know.
No, Joy. I don't tell Joy.
Nobody knows. It's his little. Yeah. You've had cabaret dances. We've had
cabaret, but the burlesque dances.
The burlesque dances.
We've had Las Vegas girls coming in, putting on like a Las Vegas show dance. We've had drag queen show.
Yeah.
Which was a big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never been to a drag queen show before, and that was fun. Actually, I had to buy a drag queen show for a party. To go to one, so that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
actually. I enjoyed it.
No, but it's a great party. It's a great cause. It's a great nudge that you put out there, and you got a great story. We appreciate you coming on and telling that story.
I appreciate being. How many people have been here before?
You're like
me?
number 10.
Yeah, I was number 10 invite here.
Well, there's a reason behind that.
There's on the list.
There's another podcast that is that you went on first. No, we had to spread it out a little bit.
What's it gonna do with you?
You know what? You know why you really got on this podcast this week? Because I didn't have anybody else. All the other people I asked were not available.
See, there you go. I believe that.
That's
the reason why I'm here
100% true.
Right now. I totally believe that.
But we're back in action. So we'll. I'm happy that we're back in the room. I'm happy that you were my guest.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to my avid fans that we missed last week, but I was on vacation.
Well, I'm going to say something to you. There'll be no corrections on this one.
Oh yeah, there will.
No, there won't be.
Yeah, but no, the correction.
I promise you there won't be. Not with me. Okay? I'll tell you that right off the bat.
There'll be no corrections.
There
You
won't
understand me? No corrections. Yeah, you got it. Sure, Mr. Fiumara.
There'll be no corrections.
There'll be no
This
corrections.
is Fiumarica.
Fiumarica.
Okay, kid?
Everybody, welcome to Fiumarica. As always, if you ever need anything, give me a call. Everybody needs a nudge. We're signing out. Say goodbye, Chris.
See you later.